Hi guys, I'm Sean. I know you guys all know me. No? Good? Okay. My name is Sean. I'm going to be talking to you guys today about the claims the affirmatives have made about how their tuition will, or what was it again? I forgot. Anyways, basically their proposition is aimed at making three goals. First is their policy would remove the grant system from the federal and state governments. Second, their policy would limit the amount of government-approved loans. And third, their policy will stabilize tuition costs by returning the rate of change to inflation percentages. Now, to start, I'm going to talk to you about how they say that their policy will remove the grant system from the federal and state governments. I'm not going to deny that. Obviously, that's what their policy is going to do, but it's going to cause some negative factors among the educational system. First, it's going to lower the enrollment for colleges. If educational grants were removed, students who relied on these would not be able to attend college. In an article written by Sue McMillan, who is a writer for Southwestern University, in an article titled Financial Aid is Crucial for Higher Education, she states nationally about half of these students rely on federal loans and grants to help pay for college. Also, in a report written by Sandy Baum and Kathleen Paya for College Board, titled Trends in Student Aid, says that in 2006-2007, 42% of public four-year college enrollment relied on the Pell Grant to help pay their way through college. Also from the same report, they say that in 2007-2008, the second year of the Academic Competitiveness Grant Program, 456,000 students received awards. Now, these are only a few of the grant systems that are in place, and for this many students to be affected in receiving grants, if they no longer are supplying grants for the system, they're not going to be able to go to school. Now, if less people attend college, teachers are going to start losing jobs because there's not going to be as many students to teach. The society will be less educated because not as many people are going to go to school. And at the extreme, schools are going to go out of business due to a loss in revenue. Also, another negative impact of removing the grant system from the federal and state governments is going to create more student debt. Now, based on the current financial aid system, students are already forced to turn to loans to pay for college, and the debt they accrue is substantial. Estimates from the annual survey of colleges indicate that for the approximately 60% of 2006-2007 bachelor's degree recipients who graduated with debt, the average total debt was about $22,700. Now, this money is money that they're paying interest on while they're in college and that they have to repay once they exit college. Also, educational aid in the form of grants has helped deter the total loan debt a student has at the end of college. In the educational report released by College Board, they say that loans have declined from 75% to 70% of the total federal aid over the decade. Now, what this basically is saying that if we remove grants, the loans that you guys are going to have to take out is going to increase substantially. Instead of $22,000, you're going to have to pay well more than that. And debt for an exiting college graduate is detrimental, as it will inhibit their ability to qualify for home loans. It's going to create a financial burdens in repayment, and it's going to cause undue stress to the individual to repay the enormous amount of money borrowed for college. Now, the second goal that their proposition was going for is that they would like to limit the amount of government-approved loans. Now, by limiting the amount of government-approved loans, they've already removed grants. And so by limiting loans further, they're going to cause an increase in the private loan funding in the private sector. Now, private loans are variable, which could cause an unexpected increase in payment amounts or amounts owed, which means their interest rate can vary based on what the current market is. In an article written by Sandra Block, stated, despite credit crunch, federal student loans can be easy to get. For USA Today, says that because most private loans carry variable rates, your rate could rise significantly before the loan is paid off, even if you make your loan payments on time. Also, private loans are more expensive than government-guaranteed loans. In the same article, Sandra says that interest rates, or actually Mark Kantrowitz, which is a publisher for Financial Aid, in the article states, interest rates for these, as in private loans, range from 6% to more than 14%. But to get the best rates, most borrowers or their co-signers need excellent credit scores. And also, private loans are written with repayment fees, and interest accrues at the inception of the loan, rather than when you graduate. So, essentially, with this increase in the amount of loans funding, the affirmative is saying that they're by removing or limiting the amount of government-approved loans, it's going to cause an increase in the total amount of debt that a student has. And the private loans are going to be way more expensive than the government student loans. So to go with private loans instead of the government student loans is going to create so many more problems for our college students. Lastly, they state that their policy will stabilize tuition costs by returning the rate of change to inflation percentages. Now, the reason for the higher rate of increase in tuition compared to inflation rates is not from grants, but from the reliance of loans for students to pay for college. Now, the affirmative stats imply that grants are the reason why college tuition has increased at a higher rate than the economic inflation rate. They've actually said it's about twice the rate as the economic inflation rate. Now, in the College Board Educational Report, they state that the increase in the loan-to-grant ratio over time does not result from a decline in grant aid, but from a very rapid increase in reliance on education loans. They also state that over the 8 years from 91-92 to 99-2000, total grant aid for undergraduates grew at an average annual rate of 3.5%. Now, the inflation rate was right around 3.5% for that time. But in contrast, the total loans that increased at an average rate of 8.1%, which is about double the rate. So as you can see, it's not definitely the grants that are causing the higher than inflation rate changes. It's actually the student loans that the government or that they're taking out. Also, the introduction of government subsidized loans has even reduced the reliance on financial aid as in grants, further putting the reason for higher than inflation rate increases on the loans rather than the grants. In a quote from the educational report from College Board, grant aid declined from 63% to 49% of external funds for undergraduates between 92-93 to 97-98, primarily because of the introduction of unsubsidized Stafford loans. Now, also, loans are very easily attained for students through private companies as well as through the many federal systems established. Because of the ease in which students are able to get loans, students are more inclined to borrow the remaining amount to cover the increase in tuition. In the article written by Sandra for the USA Today, she says that the Education Department recently contacted college financial aid offices and found no instances in which an eligible student was unable to get a federal loan. Now, basically what they're saying is that by stabilizing tuition costs, they want to remove the grant system and replace it with the loan system, but the loans are what's causing the increase in the rate over what the normal inflation rate is. So if they replace it, they're not going to stabilize the rates. It's actually going to cause the same trend. And this, in essence, is basically what they're saying is that it removes the economic barrier that is in place normally for institutions.